So I'll introduce now Dana Harvey. She's also going to do her own introduction. Dana's with us from BC, so she's just flown all the way across the country to provide, like I said, probably the most important subject matter that people in the room are going to be exposed to this weekend. So this is definitely one that you're going to want to pay attention to. Thank you, Dana, please.
Okay, let's do this. I'm so excited to be here and to share what I know and what I've learned about psychedelic preparation and integration. Just a quick note that everything I'm presenting today is for education and harm reduction only and should not be construed as medical, mental health, or even legal advice. So, to kick things off, I'd really like to invite you to become present here with me now in a little practice. I call it, that's me, grounding and gratitude. So I would invite you, if it feels good, if it feels comfortable for you, to join me in just getting comfortable in your seat, maybe closing your eyes or gazing down with a relaxed focus. And just taking a moment to become aware and conscious of your breath. Just notice the expansion and the contraction. Maybe become aware of the pauses in between. Don't try to change anything or analyze anything. Just be with your breath for a moment. And then I invite us all to collectively take a couple of big, deep breaths in, breathing in all the excitement, joy that's in the room, and breathing out loudly anything that's not serving you and isn't welcoming you in this moment. Let's all breathe in and out. One more time together with me. Oh, yeah. Let's turn our attention now for a moment to gratitude. It might feel good to put a hand on your heart as you just take a moment to say thank you to yourself. Thank you. Thank you, self, for showing up. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for having an open mind. Thank you for being here. Expanding that gratitude outward to the other people who are collectively here learning and sharing with you. Thank you to the producers who put this together. Thank you that we can be here. And then turning our gratitude down to Mother Earth. First of all, gratitude to be in this peaceful country, on this land. Most of us as visitors and unceded territories of the original peoples of this land. Thank you to Mother Earth, who gifts us with these sacred plant medicines to expand our consciousness, to heal, and to grow. And thank you to our ancestors, those who've come before us, the indigenous people of all our lands who have over time shared the beauty and the mystery of these plant medicines with us. When you feel comfortable, I invite you to open your eyes and come back into the present with us here. And man, thank you for doing that with me. It's really helped to ground me and make me present in this space. It's slowed my heart rate down a little bit, calmed my nerves slightly, although I have to say I found out last night that I wouldn't have my speaker notes and that little thing where I could see what the next slide's going to be. So this is even going to be more fun than I had anticipated. But I'm really happy to be here to, where am I supposed to point this to make this work? Maybe not pushing the right button. Okay. Grounding and gratitude practice. That's one practice that, a small sample of a practice that we introduce in gathering groups, which is a small group, 12-week sacred mushroom retreat program where we spend 8 full weeks helping you prepare for a medicine ceremony before you even get into medicine. And that practice that we just did together there, it introduced 3 tools that can be really, really helpful in preparing for a medicine ceremony. Namely, your breath. So learning how to harness the energy of your breath to use your breath to calm you down, to calm your nervous system. Mindfulness, learning to be present, learning to be able to sit without judgment or analysis, even sit with uncomfortable feelings and uncomfortable things. And gratitude. We know that when we practice gratitude, it triggers our brain to release neurochemicals and hormones like dopamine and serotonin that help us to feel calm and help us to feel happy. And these are great tools to practice and to embrace before we go into a medicine ceremony, and so that we have the muscle memory of knowing how to use them in the medicine ceremony in case we need to navigate anything that might be challenging. So I'm here to share what is psychedelic preparation and integration. Why are they such critical topics that we're talking about them on both days at this conference? And then I just want to give you some practical tools and practices. But first, me. Why am I here talking about this? I'm 55. That was my birthday last weekend. I'm white, privileged, cisgendered, straight woman with a lot of love around her. I'm a sister, I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a person whose life has been radically changed with the support of plant medicine, and I'm a person who's really passionate about sharing what I've learned with other people so they can benefit too. I may or may not have experimented with psychedelics recreationally in my youth, but about 10 years ago, I was introduced to intentional psychedelic use. So using psychedelics for the intention of healing, of growth, of self-exploration. And I did have some experiences, and I did have some pretty interesting insights, some revelations. But I can't say that I actually experienced any long-term benefits. There was one thing at that point that I didn't know about psychedelics, and that was that they are not a magic cure. They're not a magic bullet. They're not going to, poof, make your life better. They're not going to do your healing for you. There was a well-known Mazatechan medicine woman named Maria Sabina who inadvertently brought magic mushrooms to the West, who famously said, "You are the medicine. The medicine will work with you, but it's the work that you do in preparation and in integration that's really going to lead to those long-term sustainable benefits." Oh yeah, back to me. So 10 years ago, I was introduced to intentional psychedelics. So fast forward to about 4 years ago. That's how long I've been working full-time in the realm of psychedelics. And I actually started in a really corporate position. I was recruited to be CCO and head of investor relations for Numinous, one of the leading publicly traded psychedelic companies. And it was a really great position. I loved it. I got to learn so much about the science of psychedelics, the history of psychedelics, the politics, the business. And I felt like I was doing really some good in the world because I was helping educate other people and I was helping to destigmatize. I was well compensated, my life was pretty good, everything was flowing well. I kind of checked all the boxes of what society calls success. But I was sitting with a lot of shame and guilt inside because everything looked good. Everything seemed good. I had a lot of privilege. But inside, I wasn't doing so well. I didn't really want anyone to know because I was so guilty that I felt kind of oscillated between flatlining, like just feeling kind of nothing, and feeling so racked with anxiety that I could hardly function. So this was a little private hell that I was going through, but I did know, I don't want to live like this, and I can't live like this, and I need to do something about this. And this was the first time that I embarked on intentional but informed psychedelic use, where I knew that if I wanted the medicine to work with me, I needed to do my work too. So I started to do my work, and I worked with a therapist. I did a lot of journaling. I spent a lot of time just by myself, going walking, spending time in nature, talking to my family, learning some tools and some practices that I could bring into medicine with me. And eventually I had a mushroom ceremony that really changed my life. What was revealed to me in this ceremony was that there were many places in my life where I was not living in alignment with my values and with my heart. And one of those places was in my career. My heart, I really wanted to work from my heart. I really wanted to work with transformation. I really wanted to work with people and to share what I knew about these beautiful, beautiful medicines. But my audience wasn't really interested in that for the most part. My audience was investors, and they wanted to know when the money was coming, where the money was coming, how much they were going to get, when, and what was I doing to get them the money. And it just wasn't working for me. I came out of this journey with 3 distinct pillars that were given to me, that I was to provide loving guidance, I was to share evidence-based knowledge, and I was to cultivate supportive communities. What am I supposed to do with that? Thus began the process of integration. Trying to make sense of what I'd been given, trying to figure out what I was going to do with that. I did a lot of journaling. I talked to my business coach. I talked to my family. I started to make some plans, and about 6 weeks later, I resigned from my position, and I left my whole corporate career behind. From there, I dove headfirst into educating myself, getting trained, working with mentors. I had an incredible opportunity to apprentice with an underground healer. And when I felt ready and my mentors agreed, I started to support other people in their transformations too. So I started with coaching people through microdosing, supporting people through their journeys, preparation, integration. I started a little community on the Clubhouse app that a lot of people were into at the time. It's like an audio-only app for iPhones and Androids. That club, the Flourish Academy, continues to grow. We have about 4,000 people there now. And my team and I host 3 educational shows there every week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 12 Eastern Time. And we bring in world-leading experts from all different aspects of psychedelics, sensuality, sexuality, spirituality, other modalities, all the things that come together. And the replays of those rooms are now repurposed as a podcast called Psychedelic Revelation so that we can spread the word to even more people. I founded Sisters in Psychedelics, which was a community really to support and elevate women in this space. I produced the Sisters in Psychedelics Summit in 2022. I'm a community leader for the Flying Sage, which is Vancouver's psychedelic community. So I have been integrating and fulfilling my pillars. During that period of time, I have been continuing to work on myself. And one of the things that I did as working on myself, a couple of years ago, I signed up for a program. It's called Gathering Groups. The 12-week small group sacred mushroom retreat program. 8 weeks of preparation, 4 weeks of integration, 2-night psilocybin ceremony at week 8. And I thought there was something really, really special about this program. In fact, I was so impressed. You know, by this time, I've been working with the above ground, the underground, the shamans, the doctors. I've seen the world of psychedelics, and I thought that what Gathering Groups was offering was really, really unique, and I wanted to be part of it. So I trained to become a facilitator, and eventually I became part of their leadership team. So what is unique about Gathering Groups? First of all, it's the emphasis that they put on preparation, making sure you are really ready, mind, body, soul, spirit, to be open to the experience that's ahead of you. Secondly is their emphasis on connection. As Sheena said, we rarely heal in isolation. We heal in community. As Gabor Mate says, the opposite of addiction is not sobriety, it's connection. I believe that the opposite of so many of the dis-eases in our world today is connection. And in these small, intimate groups that we build in Gathering Groups, we get that connection that many of us are missing in our lives. And finally, the emphasis on integration. Integration is not one Zoom call, you're on your own, back into your life. We work together to integrate the experience you've had for 4 whole weeks. And then after that, you're integrated into a larger alumni community. And we've taken about 400 people through our programs now. So there's a whole community. We offer programs like microdosing for psychedelic integration. We have drop-in integration circles. We have in-person events. And finally, Gathering Groups has a two-eyed seeing approach to the medicine work that they do. So they really bring in the best of Western evidence-based theories and practices like the polyvagal theory, the evolved nest concept. But they marry that together with indigenous practices and teachings, land-based teachings. We are so, so fortunate to have a very close relationship with the Stolo Nation, on whose land our retreat center is. And the Stolo Nation has gifted us with many learnings and teachings, in fact, even songs for us to sing in our ceremonies. So you can see why this has really appealed to me and why I decided to join forces with Gathering Groups. So let's get into what is preparation, and let's take it through with this two-eyed seeing approach. Preparation is everything you do from the moment you feel called to the medicine, or you book the retreat, or you sign up with a therapist, right through to when you're there, you're sitting with the medicine. And it's really a holistic approach. So it takes into consideration the things that we value and emphasize in our Western culture, the physical and the intellectual, as well as the things that are integral to healing in the indigenous worldview and ways of healing, which are the emotional and the spiritual. What is integration? There is a book and a saying by a Buddhist mindfulness meditation teacher, Jack Kornfield, that says, "After the ecstasy, the laundry." So what he means by that is, even after moments of profound insight or profound ecstasy or profound revelations, you still have to go back to your life and you still have to do the laundry. You have to bring those teachings and those learnings back to your everyday life. So in the context of psychedelics, psychedelics aren't going to do your laundry for you. They're not going to bring in new habits for you or quit your job for you or make your lifestyle changes for you. That's the laundry that you need to do. That's the work that you need to do. That's the integration. So the psychedelics may give you some super detergent to clean your life with, but you still need to clean your life. There is a preeminent psychedelic researcher out of Imperial College in London, Dr. Robin Carhart Harris, who uses the analogy of a snow globe to explain psychedelics. So he says when you're first born, your brain is like, it's a snow globe. So it's got all this beautiful fresh fallen snow on it. And then as you experience life, as you learn about life and where you fit in and how to make sense of the world around you, you kind of create grooves in the snow. You create these thought patterns and the way you think about things. And over time, over life, those grooves get deeper and deeper and deeper until you just believe that that's the way the world is. That's the way you are. That's the way things are. After a while, you can't even see outside those grooves. That's just the way it is. Psychedelics give us this unique experience to take that snow globe and shake it up again and let that fresh fallen snow fall again. And all of a sudden, you can see new horizons. You can see new destinations. You can see new ways of getting from A to B. Integration is the process of making new tracks in that snow and making sure that you don't fall back into those deep, deep grooves that are still there just underneath the surface. So as you can see, psychedelics are pretty much a 3-step process, and psychedelics very rarely, if ever, do your healing for you or to you, as in our modern day pharmaceutical models, but they work with you. Preparation and integration are what are going to make the experience of psychedelics meaningful and transformative. Without thorough preparation and thorough integration, a psychedelic experience is most often simply an experience. Sure, you may get insights and revelations and unblock energies, but over time, it's most likely that these impacts will fade unless you do the work. So let's talk about how to prepare. So step one, preparation, is explore your intention. Get really, really clear on why are you doing this? What is drawing you to this? What do you want to change in your life? How do you hope to show up differently in your life? Journaling can be a really excellent way to get clear on your intention. And I think in every preparation resource I've ever seen, journaling is recommended. And another really great way to get clear on your intention is to bring it to your community. To have a place where you can openly discuss what's going on for you, where you can explore what's underneath that intention, what's driving that intention. This is another thing that, why I'm such a proponent of gathering groups is we have 8 weeks to do our intention setting together in community. And we explore things like our past traumas and how they're showing up in our lives. We explore ourselves through the lens of internal family systems. We explore what lights us up and brings us joy and where we hope to be after this experience. So why is intention setting so important? First of all, research shows that those who go into a psychedelic experience with a clear intention are more likely to report that the experience has been meaningful and transformative. Secondly, it gives the medicine direction. So psychedelics are what is known as non-specific amplifiers. So they will bring up whatever is alive in you, even in your subconscious. They're going to bring that up. And so if you can give the medicine some direction, like a North Star, like, hey, this is what I'd really like you to help me with, let's explore this together, at least you are giving the medicine some direction to work with you of what you want it to amplify. Now, those of us who know that the medicine's actually going to give us what we need, not necessarily what we want. However, this is moving it in the right direction. I see some nods over there. It also gives you some direction. So what we've known since the beginning of time is where focus goes, energy flows. As Mahatma Gandhi said, what a man or a woman thinks, they become. We actually have the power to move towards the intention ourselves. We even have the power to create new neural connections. If you're into the neurobiology of psychedelics, you know that this is part of the promise of psychedelics, is creating those new neural pathways. We can actually do that ourselves. But when we start moving in that direction and then we bring psychedelics in, that's just amplified and we work together towards our intention. The second step in preparation, in my opinion, is safety, considering your safety. So what might this look like? This might look like interviewing your guide or the retreat center or the shaman or whoever you're working with. It could look like asking them questions like, where do you source your medicine? How do I know it's safe? How many people have you worked with? How long have you been doing this? Have you ever encountered any adverse events? How did you deal with them? Do you have a way of reporting adverse events? So we're looking at for a track record of safety here. Another really important thing is that psychedelics are not for everyone. And so having a very thorough medical and mental health screening, if you are working with a professional, they should be able to know and assess whether this is the right thing for you, whether it's safe for you. They should be more concerned with your safety than with taking your money. If you're working solo with psychedelics, this could look like having your medicine tested or making sure that you're set up your environment so you know that it's safe and that it's conducive to transformation. All of these things factor into what is known in the psychedelic world as your setting. So your physical safety, the context of the psychedelics. The other thing to prepare for is what's called the set, which is your mental, emotional, and psychological safety. It's your mindset. It's your state of mind. It's your nervous system. And this is something that I think is sometimes misunderstood because people might think like, oh, my boyfriend broke up with me last night. I'm really upset. I'm not in a good mindset. I don't think I should do psychedelics. Or something turbulent is happening in my life. It's not the right time to do it. You're right. But you know what? You are assessing your mindset then. You're not preparing your mindset. So preparing your mindset and your nervous system looks like things like talking to a therapist. It could look like learning and embracing some of the tools that we've already talked about so that they become muscle memory and we can take them into the experience with us to ground us and to keep us safe. It just once back to that, to the safety. You should be able to answer 3 questions before you go into a psychedelic journey. Do I feel safe with this medicine? Do I feel safe with these people? Do I feel safe in this environment? And if you cannot answer wholeheartedly in the moment yes to all 3 of those questions, you can change your mind. Right up to the moment that you take that medicine, you can change your mind. So take care of your safety. It's preparation. Let's quickly go through some things that you can prepare for in kind of closer to the medicine time, like in the days leading up to the ceremony. Now, some medicines, some shamans, some practitioners, they have specific things that you do need to do to prepare for. So these are quite broad. But first of all, your physical preparation, basically you want to kind of make sure that your body is as clear of a channel as it can be for the psychedelics. So that could mean not clouding it up with other substances like cannabis and alcohol. It could mean like staying away from stimulants, because many psychedelics are very stimulating, so we don't want to add in any extra stimulants. At the same time, you don't want to kind of go cold turkey if you're a coffee drinker. You might talk to your practitioner about maybe just having a little bit less caffeine or limiting things that you take into your body. You need to understand the medical contraindications, because there are some medical contraindications. There are some cases where you may need to taper off or stop taking medication. Please don't do this without consulting a medical professional. It can be very dangerous to do so. And in many cases, it's not even necessary. So work with your practitioner and your medical practitioner. Diet-wise, kind of just stick to a whole food diet. You don't want your body busy taking up the energy to digest red meat, for example. Let's use that energy to work with the medicine instead. Moving your energy. So we know that energy is emotions in motion. Energy gets stuck in our body. Energy shows up as trauma. So we want to just spend some time moving our body, going for walks, doing dancing, whatever you can, unstick your energy and get it moving freely through you. And breathing exercises, learning how to harness the energy of your breath, learning how to use your breath to calm your nervous system. Intellectual preparation. You can see I'm looking at a whole body holistic approach here. I call it PIES, P-I-E-S, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual. So on the intellectual side, as we know, psychedelics are non-specific amplifiers. They bring up what's present in you, even at the subconscious level. So don't plant anything in there subconsciously that the psychedelics are going to grab onto and bring up. Like, do you really need to be listening to the news every day for the week before your psychedelic experience? Probably not. Scary movies, intellectual thrillers, etc. What we're really trying to do is to calm down our cerebral intellect. So bringing in practices that you're starting to start hearing a theme around now: meditation, mindfulness, walking, nature, etc. Emotional preparation, again, we know that emotions are energy in motion, so a lot of the same things as physical apply here. Avoiding and limiting triggers that you know you have emotionally, people, situations, maybe you can put those off until after your journey. You don't need them sitting there in your subconscious to be amplified by the medicine. And again, just creating a calm, fertile environment emotionally for the psychedelics through many of the practices that we've already talked about. And spiritual preparation. This isn't necessarily religious, but if you do have a religious practice, this might be a good time to deepen into that practice a little bit, or just to connect with yourself or with with your higher power, whatever that might look or feel like. Very often we hear about psychedelic experiences inducing mystical experiences or encounters with the divine. And what we do know, or we are learning through research, is that very often these mystical experiences, people who have these mystical experiences report more meaningful and more transformative experiences. So create a fertile ground for that to be a possibility for you. Okay, let's turn our attention to integration. And I just want to reiterate again that rarely, if ever, do psychedelics do our healing or our growth for us or to us. They may provide us with insights, with revelations, with unsticking of blockages, but they aren't going to do the laundry. Integration is the process of doing the laundry, of staying above those grooves in the snow, and of really taking what we've learned and embodying it in our everyday life. So this is the part where we do the work, where we are the medicine. Journaling is a great tool, again, for integration. I think, again, every single resource around integration pretty much mentions journaling. And community is another very excellent tool for integration. We know that integration is critical to having a transformative experience. We also know that integration is a process. So it's not a one-off thing that we do in one Zoom call. It's something that unfolds over time. And we know that it is very often strengthened in community. One other thing to know about integration is, I'm a little bit out of order here. Let's talk about community there for a second. We're saying community can be really strengthen integration. It can be hard to talk to your friends. It can be hard to talk to your family. Maybe they just want to hear the highlights of your trip, but not really dive deep into it, or support you, or hold you accountable, or offer you other perspectives, or share what they're doing for integration. And that's where community can be so useful. And again, one of the things I love so much about gathering groups is that community is baked right into the 12-week program. But a little bit of Googling around, you can probably find an integration community for you. There are many, many niche integration communities as well for women, for LGBTQ+, for different cultures. I just did a quick Google. I found that Toronto Psychedelic Society is very active. The Flying Sage is Vancouver's psychedelic community. I learned about the KWCG Psychedelic Society. Nectara is a Canadian-based but online integration community and resource. So my recommendation is to find your people and probably do that as part of your preparation so that you're not searching around afterwards, but you already know what community you can turn to for integration. And finally, there is no one-size-fits-all when it comes to integration. There isn't like a prescription that this is what everybody needs to do for integration. It's going to depend on what your intention was, what medicine you used, what your experience was, what your lifestyle is, who your family is, what culture you're from, what your body's like, what your personal preferences are. In 2022, the Journal of Psychopharmacology published a study, I guess it's a study, where they compiled all of the published resources around integration to date. And they tried to list all of the different practices that were recommended in these published resources for integration, and then to kind of classify them into different categories. And I am not going to go through these all right now in the essence of time, but you can look them up if you're looking for some inspiration as to how you could integrate. But I just want to go through them just quickly so that you can see how diverse they are, and at the same time see some themes that continuously come up. We've already talked about mindfulness, meditation, time in nature, etc. But there's artistic and creative integration practices. There's music and singing. Listening to the music that was played during your journey can be one of the most stimulating integration practices. It can take you right back into the experience and bring up memories that you might have forgotten, let you feel the sensations again. Many, many movement practices, and somatic practices, diet and health practices, quiet time, spaciousness, taking the time for integration, not just plonking yourself back down into your busy chock-a-block life and kind of not thinking about it again. Journaling, again, every single resource mentioned journaling. And I actually added myself here voice recording because I know that journaling sometimes isn't for everybody, but voice recording can be just as effective as well. Many therapy, mind-focused integration activities, meditation mindfulness as its own category, time in nature, time connecting with nature. Take it. Good. All right, moving on. Creating space and ritual. It can be really nice to set up a little altar space in your home where you put things that remind you of the insights from the journey. Dream work, spiritual and existential practices, community activism, volunteering, dream work again. It's basically choose your own adventure. But how do you choose your own adventure? Let's look at that quickly through the PIES, physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual lens again. Should be a whole body process, but I'm going to leave you with a really quick, a 4-step process that can help you figure out what integration might look for you, like for you. Number one thing I recommend is immediately after your experience, record, remember, write down every single thing you remember, the smells, the sounds, the visions, things that don't make sense. Remember, psychedelic experiences are like dreams and they will fade and they fade quickly. So write them down, capture everything. Some things might not make any sense, but they might make sense over the course of time as you get distance from that experience. Number 2, prioritize themes. You may have a whole bunch of things downloaded to you and you might want to do all the things, but I suggest that you try to categorize things into 1 theme, 2, maybe 3 themes that you can really focus on so you don't get overwhelmed or lose your motivation. And finally, number 3, set your intentions. Just like you set your intention going into a psychedelic journey, set your intentions around integration. So for example, perhaps you felt a profound sense of peace that you had never experienced before in your journey. All that anxiety, all that monkey brain, everything was turned off. Your intention might be around finding that peacefulness in your everyday life. Or maybe you went into your journey feeling really isolated and lonely, and it was revealed to you that that's something you're doing. You're pushing people away to protect yourself. Your intention around your integration might be finding ways to let love in. So choose a theme and then make a plan. So now that you know that preparation and integration are critical to getting the most out of your psychedelic experience, to transforming the downloads, the insights, the revelations into long-term sustainable change. Now that you know that psychedelics rarely do your healing to you or for you, but it's more of a reciprocal relationship, and the more you put in, the more you're going to get out of it. If you are choosing to embrace psychedelics intentionally for healing, growth, and development, I wish you the greatest of insights, the greatest of transformations, and never forget, you are the medicine. I have a free preparation and integration resource at the gathering group table. And you can also win a free gathering group. And plus, I just love talking about this stuff. So please come and see me. I'm at table number 6. Thank you so much.